Hello, and welcome to another episode of Chronic Briefs. This time around, we're doing the first news of the news year. New year. It's 2021 already, and there's already news. Who knew? Before we go any further, though, as always, if you like Chronic Briefs, if you like what we do, please give us a tweet, a subscribe, a like, a share, a shout from the tallest tower of your castle? I don't know, that one got away from me. But anyway, please help spread the word so we can keep on educating and entertaining as many people as possible. So, normally, we start our news episodes out with a little bit of info about what's going on in the Chronic Briefs world. And this episode is no exception. You may have noticed that this particular news is a day later than it usually is, and that is because it's my birthday, yeah. Well, not today, obviously, the day I hope you're watching this, but a few days ago. Turns out I thought, like most people with chronic illness, that I could do it all in one day, that I could push myself to have my cake and eat it too. Literally, I thought I could eat my birthday cake and see a few family members for dinner, and then go on to write and film this month's news episode. Unfortunately, well, my RA had other plans. Yeah, as it often does. When I finally got to sit down at the computer, I looked into the screen, and the screen looked into me and said, not tonight, buddy, sorry. And then I went to bed early, and that put me behind schedule. So here we are. Now, I know how much you love that titillating story, but without further ado, I think we should get into it because I'm your host, Payne Daly, and it's the Chronic Briefs News Network back on the air. As we often do, we'll start with a report about rheumatoid arthritis. Why are we biased towards RA? Well, it's pretty easy to figure that one out. I have it. Duh. A recent study in Rheumatology International has announced that a long-asked-for test has finally reached its research stage and might be available for widespread use. Now, we frequently talk here about the craziness of having to try RA meds one at a time in order to figure out which one works. Yeah, that's the best method that we came up with this far. It's like, Johnson, come here. I figured out a way we can determine which medicine will work for an RA patient. Really? Wow, what is it? Well, here's what we do. We have the patient pay for and then take the medication. And then, and here's the important part, Johnson, we wait and we see what happens. Genius, right? So your scientific breakthrough is try it and see if it works? Precisely, Johnson. I'm confident the Nobel Prize Committee will recognize my work. I'm going to buy a jacuzzi with the prize money. Yeah, the year 2021, and that's the best we got. Yeah, well, maybe until now. There is now a test for RA patients that will determine if they will respond to medications that use TNF, or tumor necrosis factor inhibiting medication. Yeah, it's called the PRISM RA test, and it's the first time that people with rheumatoid arthritis can see what effect a certain class of medicine will have on their illness. The responses can be low or no response, moderate response, or high or very high response. And if you fall into the latter category, it means that there's a good chance TNF inhibiting medication will work for that patient. Now, if you don't know RA, this is a monumental breakthrough and something we've been clamoring for years. Let's hope the trials are successful and the test goes wide soon. It'll help millions of people find effective treatment for their RA that much faster. Our next story is great for anyone who loves bran muffins, which is exactly one person in Nova Scotia named Hans. Yes, fiber! That wondrous thing that your grandmother told you to eat more of every time you took a few seconds too long in the bathroom. As of late, fiber has been touted as the cure-all for everything. Obesity, heart disease, muscle loss, even low sex drive. Yeah, the thing is, there's only one thing for sure we know: that fiber hardens, and it generally doesn't come out of the front of you. Man, I should win an award for skirting the line between PG-13 and R rating so artfully, right? Anyway, a new study published in Menopause, which is the official journal of the North American Menopause Society, has discovered that eating fiber might also be linked to a reduced risk in depression. Yes, that's right. Your teenage breakup, ice cream, and cupcake eating cry fests might have been the right plan all along, minus the mint chocolate chip. Ugh, It's like eating toothpaste and dark chocolate. Ugh. Anyway, the study involved 5,800 women of various ages and specifically sought to investigate the relationship between dietary fiber intake and depression in women by menopause status. Previous studies had already suggested benefits linked between fiber and mental health, but this is the first study to categorize the actual association in women between depression and fiber intake. Further study is imminent, but it's always good to be cognizant of what you eat and how it affects your body. Yeah, I know. There are tons of diets out there that claim to help chronic illness and autoimmune disease and everything out there, and it's never been conclusively proven. But even I know if I eat too much of certain foods, my RA acts up. So if nothing else, take away the fact that you should be aware of what you're eating, especially if it's mint chocolate chip ice cream. Oh, I'd rather have bread muffins. This next story is rife for puns, and you know how much we love a good pun around here. It seems that vaping could be responsible for clouding your thoughts. I know, it's delicious. Now, if you think vaping is mostly something participated in by snarky 14-year-olds and man-bun sporting hipster millennials who say things like, bro, and I only eat artesian mango chutney, but it seems that more and more people are choosing vaping as a, quote, healthy alternative to smoking, even though the mysterious chronic condition E-Valley, which stands for e-cigarette vaping associated lung injury, that's it, is on the rise. Two new studies from the University of Rochester Medical Center have uncovered another possible chronic side effect, an association between brain fog and vaping. Yeah, see, I told you there was puns. Now, many of us who suffer with chronic illness or cancer are no stranger to brain fog. It kind of comes with the territory. This, however, goes even further. As the study says, there are reports of vaping people? No, wait. Cigarette smokers are called smokers and vape users are called, what? Douchebags? No, that can't be right. Let's just call them vapors. Anything these vapors have experienced is difficulty concentrating, difficulty remembering, and difficulty making decisions, especially if they started vaping before the age of 14. Ugh. This seems pretty convenient to me because, you start vaping, you become a vapor, and then you start to forget why you started, and then you can no longer make a decision to stop? That sounds like the perfect recipe for addiction. That's probably totally a coincidence, right? No one would ever do that on purpose. Look, it only takes a small amount of common sense to realize that sucking any chemical into your lungs on a daily basis isn't a good idea. Finally today, I want to touch on a little bit more of a serious story. This one is about COVID, but probably not the part you're thinking of. You see, I happen to know a few people in the medical community. Yeah, a few. Imagine that. So I got the upfront, in-your-face, unvarnished play-by-play of what the virus was really like here in the New York hospitals. And after a few weeks, I started hearing stories about nurses and technicians and even doctors who had to hold cell phones so that their relatives of people could FaceTime their loved ones' last moments, basically live streaming death after death after death. And my first question was, how are these doctors and nurses who have to witness and participate in 10 live streaming deaths a day holding up? Well, now we know the answer. Not great. A new study by the University of Utah health scientists suggests that more than half of the doctors and nurses and emergency responders could be at risk for one or more mental health problems, including, but not limited to, acute traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, insomnia, and even PTSD, comparable to people who survived traumatic natural disasters like Hurricane Katrina. Working under constant stress for months at a time with little or no rest was always going to leave long-lasting scars, and our heroes in the healthcare field are going to bear the scars of their selfless acts probably for years to come. So please, the next time you see someone who is at the front lines of the pandemic, just say thanks, and remember that they sacrificed a lot more than their time to help complete strangers have some closure in their last moments. Sorry, I told you this was going to be a serious one. Anyway, that does it for this episode of Chronic Briefs News Network. I'm your host, Payne Daly, and as always, we're here to bring you the chronic illness news that no one else seems to want to report. As always, folks, if you liked the video, if you learned something, if you laughed, if you cried, please give us a like, a subscribe, a share, a tweet, and help us get the message out about chronic illness. As always, in the meantime, be kind. Needed more now than ever. Be kind. Rewind. Keep on keeping on, and we'll talk soon. You vape? You vape watermelon flavored diet menthol liquid? It's organic?